to Subtracting Integers. I hope you're as excited as I am about learning the reverse of addition, subtraction, which I think you know something about. But that subtraction is just taking away. So when it comes to negative numbers, we can get a little confused. But let's look at it and see if we can make some sense of it. All right, in your notebooks, you're writing this down. Watching this video is not enough. If you're not writing this down, you're not putting some of that information into your memory, into your learning. Right. Title, Subtracting Integers. Subtracting integers. Now remember, integers are just whole numbers that it can also be negative. Subtracting integers. So let's start with what you already know, and that's addition, right? So you already know how to add integers, right? So for example, really easy, 2 plus negative 3. Okay, pause quick, write down your answer. Okay, I hope you notice that you just need to find the difference between these numbers. That's our rule, right? Subtract the larger one from the smaller, or the smaller one from the larger one, we get 1. And we take the sign of the larger absolute value. So our answer is negative 1. I hope that's what you wrote down. Fantastic, okay? But what if it's not addition? What if it's subtraction? So this is a new situation we haven't looked at yet. So, what if it is subtraction? Okay, so what if it's 2 minus 3? Okay, looks like a normal problem to me. 2 minus 3. You're used to doing a lot of subtraction in primary school. But now notice how the second number is bigger. So usually you haven't done that before. You've never subtracted a second number that's bigger. Okay, but I think you're going to understand how this works quite easily if I just show you that number line again. So draw this number line in your paper as well. Okay, so here's 0, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. I think that's as far as we need to go. Okay, so if we're at a positive 2 and we need to subtract 3. So here we are at the positive 2, and we need to subtract 3. So which direction am I going then? I hope you said to the left. 1, 2, 3. Subtract 3. Okay? So where am I at now? Where am I at now? I hope you said negative 1. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Aren't these answers the same? Aren't these answers exactly the same? So what we're saying is 2 plus negative 3 is the same thing as 2 minus 3. Okay, so let's write that. 2 plus negative 3 is the same as 2 minus 3. Okay? So this is what mathematicians realized, and this is how they figured out a rule to make their lives easier. Okay? So the rule is if you get a subtraction problem, you know that there is an addition problem that is the same as it. So you're going to take that subtraction problem and turn it into an addition problem. So let me say that again. The rule is turn it into addition. Then you already know the addition rules. Just do addition normally. Okay? So turn it into addition. So let's write out that rule. I have to go over here. Rule. Okay? For subtracting integers. Okay, here is the key thing for the day. Okay, so you'll notice what we did here. We changed from going from this problem to this problem, we changed the sign to addition, right? But then how did the second number change? So going from this problem to this problem, they're the same thing, remember? They're the same thing. So we changed the sign to addition, no problem. And then what happened to the second number? I hope you notice that we actually took its opposite. Instead of 3, we have negative 3. So if you're given a subtraction problem, you are going to change the sign to addition. I hope you're writing this. Okay? And then you're going to change the second integer to its opposite. To its opposite. Okay? And then finally, you're just going to add, then add. Okay? Then you're just going to add. Easy if I go like this a little bit. Da, 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 da. Wonderful. Okay, so then you're just going to add. Let's try an example. What if I give you 5 minus 10? 5 minus 10. Pause and do that in your notebook. 5 minus 10. Okay, so if I change the sign to addition, and I change the second integer to its opposite, I have an addition problem. Can you do 5 plus negative 10? Well, their difference is 5, right? And what will the sign be? It'll be negative because the absolute value of negative 10 is bigger. Okay? Okay, fantastic. You try these two. Negative 7 minus 14. Negative 7 minus 14 and 25 minus 32. All these need to be written in your notebook, by the way. Hope you're writing these down. So pause here and do these. Okay, negative 7 minus 14. Okay, so I can rewrite that as negative 7, change the sign to plus, take the opposite of 14. So I can say negative 7 plus negative 14. Using my addition rules, I just have to add together 14 and 7. So 14 plus 7 will give me a negative 21. All right, this next one, 25, will become plus negative 32. Find the difference of these, which is 7, and take the sign of the larger absolute value. Okay, negative 21 and 7. Okay, fantastic. That's all well and good. Okay, maybe I should make a little sense of this. Okay, so why are these the same thing? Maybe memorizing the rule isn't good enough for you right now. Maybe it'd be better if you really kind of understood this a little bit better. So let's look at this. Why is 5 minus 10 the same thing as 5 plus negative 10? Why? We could prove it on the number line, right? But why is that sort of intrinsic? Why is that sort of like intuitively true? Okay, so it's 5 take away 10, right? And now it's 5 plus take away 10. That's a little confusing, right? But isn't this just another way of taking away? Isn't a negative number still moving left on the number line and it's also taking away? So in a way, both of these are just taking away 10. So it's a subtraction, an easy subtraction problem. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I'm going to try to apply some logic to this next thing as well. So what if you are subtracting a negative though? Okay, this isn't anything new. This is going to be the same exact rule I just said. The same exact rule I just said. Get this all on the screen here. But why? But what I find is that students find this a little bit more complicated. Ta-da. Okay, so subtracting a negative. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, what if it is 2 minus negative 3? Okay, 2 minus negative 3. Pause here and think what that answer might be. Well, if I apply the same rule that I did over here and I change the sign to addition, and I change the second integer to its opposite, so that would be just 3, I find that subtracting a negative is the same thing as adding a positive. So subtracting a negative is the same thing as adding a positive. Now, this is just following the same rule. You don't have to use any new rules, but I am going to write that down. So subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. Adding a positive. I get really, really, really excited when I see lots of negative signs. I love when I see subtracting negatives Because even though it looks complicated at first, I know it's going to end up becoming an easy addition problem. What is 2 plus 3? Of course, that's 5. All right? So I'm trying to tell you that don't be confused or scared when you see lots of negative signs in parentheses, because if you think through it and follow your rule, I bet you're going to be able to find a simpler way to think of it in your brain and add those together with no problem. Okay? So we're making everything easy addition problems today. That's kind of our goal. So, but some of you might be wondering sort of why this is true. Why is subtracting a negative the same thing as adding a positive? Sometimes it's better to know why so that in your brain you can make sense of it and follow the rule a little bit better. Okay, so my example here is Steve. No, we'll say this is Arib. Okay, Arib is in my video. Okay, Arib, if you're watching this, hi. Okay, so Arib owes me some, actually, Arib owes Mr. Ladamel some money for the ice skating. So Arib owes Mr. Ladamel, let's just say $3, even though I think he owes him like 15. I'm just trying to keep my numbers lower. Okay, so let's say Arib owes Mr. Ladamel $3. Okay, so right now, Arib's net worth, well, that's confusing for you. I'll just say Arib is in debt $3. So does it make sense that I have -3 for Arib? I hope so, because he owes Mr. Ladamel $3. So he actually is actually in his bank account, he's quite negative right now, -3, okay? So now what if I want to help Arib out? I know that Arib doesn't have any money and his parents are out of town. So I want to help Arib out and I want to take away his debt. So I want to take away Arib's debt so that he doesn't have any debt anymore. So I'm going to take away Arib's debt. So this is Arib's debt, right? We said that already. And I want to take it away so that it's not there anymore, okay? So if I'm taking it away, if you have something and you take it away, if you have a quantity, let's say that quantity over here, let's say you have 4 and you take away 4, what does that equal? 0, of course. If you have 7 and you take away 7, 0. So if you had a debt of -3 and you take away that -3 debt, I hope intuitively you understand why that answer is 0, right? Okay, but knowing what we know with our rules, we also know that -3 could be changed to addition by taking the opposite of -3, right? So these are the same equations written a different way. So -3 plus 3 is also 0, okay? So I'm trying to kind of prove to you in your brain that taking away a negative is really just adding, right? So if I really want to take away Arib's debt, I'm going to give him $3, right? So taking away his debt is really adding, right? I'm giving to take it away, to make it disappear, to make it closer to 0, right? So I hope that makes a little bit more sense. Okay, so now here are my examples for you. Okay, please pause here. This is the last thing you're doing for today, and try these out. All right, so this should be 5 plus 10. This should be -7 plus 14. This should be 25 plus 32. Oh, these are incredibly easier problems. Subtracting integers is not hard if you know the rule, right? 5 plus 10, 15. Now -7, I should put that in parentheses, right? Because it's easier to understand. -7 plus 14 is 7. And 25 plus 32, well, 30, 40, 57. Can you see my answer over there? Not really. Okay, 57. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, if you'd like to go ahead and start some of the classwork, you can. Otherwise, we'll talk more in class. Bye-bye.